Hear me okay?
Hello.
We all good? Excuse me. All good, everyone?
Hey mate, how are you?
Very well, Tim. How are you getting on, mate?
Good mate. Back to work blues, but going all right.
Yeah. Got you, mate. Got you. How are you, Sandra? Okay? Getting some steps in? Yeah. Brilliant.
Hi, Lewis. Sorry, yes, I am.
Good on you. Good stuff. All right. If does anyone have any questions straight off the bat before I jump in? Anything to do with check-ins, concerns with the app, concerns with training, anything like that? Before I jump in? All good. Speak now, forever hold your peace. All good. All right, I'm going to jump in. Let me share this. So, this is something that we've kind of covered in the past, um, slightly, and maybe not in as much detail, but just wanted to kind of go through mastering the weekends because at the end of the day, we all want a bit of flexibility within we don't need, we're not looking to get on stage, we're not looking to be bodybuilders, so we should be able to do, um, oh, here's someone else. We should be able to live in a flexible manner and enjoy a bit of flexibility on our weekends and still continue to make progress. That is 100% doable. But the guide that I'm going to go through should hopefully put some guardrails on it, I would say. Like what I have seen, and this is could be people's old habits and behaviors as well, that contribute to this. But flexible dieting and binge purge cycling are not the same. So there would be a lot of binge purge types that very common for people yo-yo dieting, people who have never consistently been able to stick to something or lose weight in a sustainable manner. At the end of the day, you should only have to do it once. If you're doing it right and if you're doing it properly. And I think when sometimes, and I'm all for flexibility, and I'm all for introducing it, but I just don't want it to be misconceived that uh, flexible dieting is the same as a kind of binge purge type thing because at the end of the day, we don't starve ourselves. We bank a couple of calories, we bank calories from flexible calories throughout the week, but we don't starve ourselves so we can then absolutely kick the arse out it on the weekend like that. You might get away with that for a couple of weeks, a month or whatever, but that isn't what's going to work long term. That isn't a 20-year strategy. And that's the whole thing that we're looking for, something that's going to that you can implement and you can be a part of for 20 plus years, and then that's the longevity in it. Okay, so I'll jump in. Look, if you need to stop me at any point, just stop me. Just jump in at whatever point and stop me or chuck it in the let me just open the chat box. You can just chuck a Q or something like that in the chat box if you've got a question where we're going. Otherwise, I'll stop and I'll go through it at the end. Don't know how to get the chats up. Uh, I'll figure it out. Anyway, just if you need me to stop, just tell me to stop. Everybody see this, yeah? Oh, good. So why does it matter? Look, strategic weekend choices, allowing flexibility can still allow you to make progress, continue to make really good progress, and then the thought process behind that and seeing the net positive benefit from continue to make progress whilst still having flexibility and what would be considered potentially not 100% clean eating or clean drinking or whatever that looks like for each individual. Can be it's a very positive thing to have because you're like shit, like it disarms that kind of limiting belief of I have to live like a bodybuilder to get shredded or to get in shape or whatever, and you don't, man, you really don't have to do it. But you do have to be a little bit disciplined with it. Poor planning with this stuff, leave you spinning your wheels or worst case, going backwards, and you don't want it to derail your progress altogether. A one-off weekend isn't going to ruin anything, but 52 of them certainly will. All right. So flexibility rather than a free for all. Your fat loss, obviously, we know it's averages over the time over a longer period of time, and if calories are going to go up on the weekend, then we have to make accounts for it elsewhere in the week, and this is where flexible dieting comes in. Um, the other thing to remember is the more flexibility we want to be afforded, then the higher the likelihood that the rate of progress is going to be slowed down. So you can't, imagine flexibility and rate of progress basically on opposite side of the scale. The more flexibility you want, you have to be settled or be happier with a slower rate of progress, at least in that acute period. Now, what that could mean over Christmas, New Year, whatever social events you got coming up, you plan that in the roadmap, and we go, look, the next 4 weeks, we're just going to enjoy ourselves, eat, drink, whatever we're going to do, and we're going to keep up training, we're going to keep up daily movement, we're still going to keep the fundamental non-negotiables in there. But food and stuff like that, we're not going to be super worried about that. And some extra food over those types of things like holidays, Christmas, New Year, those types of things. They're actually, I just look at it as that's more fuel for my workouts. So now when I'm getting into my workouts, I'm getting in with that thought process is I've had a big, I've smashed some food down the last couple of days. Like I'm going to absolutely send it in the gym the day. And that kind of changes the potentially the mindset behind it. You're feeling like, right, I've put fuel in my body to now go and perform rather than being like, oh, I've kicked the arse out of the weekend. I have to go to the gym and punish myself. Definitely not the answer. Definitely not the relationship that we want to have. So 80/20, the 80/20 rule is 80% nutrient dense, minimally processed foods, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, all your normal stuff. Just eating like an adult, I would say. And then 20% flexible is everything else. So beers, wine, chocolate, ice cream, whatever your poison of choice is. And I use that term loosely, obviously. But whatever it is, now this could be done on a daily basis. You could do this daily. So if 2,000 calories is your daily calories that you're trying to hit, then you could definitely have 400 calories per day. You could have a magnum every single day, providing that the other 1,600 calories nails your protein intake and gets pretty close to micronutrients. Probably not going to get there on 1,600 calories. That being said, but at least giving it a red hot go like that is totally possible. But the 80% has to be nailed on, and the 80% comes from the actual energy density. So 80% of your calories for the week should be geared towards nutrient dense whole foods that fuel your body in a suitable manner, and then 20% of the week can be towards anything else. Um, so, for example, if I was on 2,000 calories per day and budgeting, is the maths right on that? I don't think the maths is right, is it? Yeah, it is. Is it? 10% would be 200, 20% is 400. Yeah, 2,000. Sorry, I had a quick check there. So if I was banking calories on a 2,000 calorie diet, then I'm going to be banking 400 calories per day for 5 days. I've got 2,000 calories for the weekend extra. So that means 1,600 Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I've got 3,000 calories up my sleeve. Happy days. Bear in mind, is about a full pizza is about 2,500 calories. So we can quickly we can quickly consume up your flexible calories if you aren't if you aren't at least planning it. And I'll show you what that kind of looks like in a minute. I've got some MyFitnessPal examples. Um, so we can't 80/20 isn't a 5,000 calorie blowout. You know what I mean? 80/20 isn't, eating kind of decent Monday to Thursday, and then kicking the arse out at Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Uh, out out for drinks drinks and a kebab or drinks and a meal on Friday, then a takeaway on Saturday, and then something else on Sunday with out for breakfast on Sunday, and movement being diminished across it. That's not it. So if you're going to look at it from a caloric perspective rather than thinking, oh, I've been eating, because the common misconception is I've been eating great all week, so I've allowed myself um some flexibility at the weekend. Yes, okay, I'm on board with that, but it's from a caloric perspective. It's from the energy perspective. Even if you think, oh, it's only one day, or it's only one meal, or it's only one night out. If it turns into a 5,000 calorie binge and it stretches over 2 days, then it's not the same thing. All right. So we have to be aware of that. So how can we bank calories effectively? Save 200 to 400 calories per day. You could do that Wednesday to Friday, for example. Eliminate things like liquid calories and unnecessary snacking. Um, so when we're banking calories, it's never from protein. Protein intake's always there. It's from carbohydrates and fats. So we just reduce carbohydrates and fats in a couple of meals throughout the week in order to allow for those calories to come in, or push breakfast out to a little bit later and almost implementing a little bit of fasting kind of principles. The only reason fasting works, there's nothing magic about fasting. It just you're trying to fit this amount of calories into a window this size. So you could just utilize those principles. So if you skip breakfast and eat your first meal at 11 a.m. or something like that, and you stop eating at 6 7 at night, like you're trying to fit a day's worth of calories in a shorter window. Obviously harder to do. If we eliminate that and then increase fiber intake, we're going to increase satiety. So again, if we're going to reduce, we want to increase volume. So if I'm pulling calories out, I want to be replacing that with something, vegetables to get fiber, satiety, volume, anchoring everything to protein as well. So you're hitting your protein target every single day. You should be hitting your protein target. Like there's it is not that difficult to do. Realistically, it really isn't that difficult to nail your protein target every day. With the resources and the stuff that's available in the app, the nutrition, the videos that I've done, the examples, the meal templates and stuff that's there. The information that's in the internet, it is not difficult to do. And if you actually ram your protein up, you'll see it. For Sharon, for example, who's Sharon, you're on the call, aren't you? You spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Jacked your protein up, satiety went through the roof. So it's not that difficult to do. And if you're going to reduce calories, that's what you do. I've been on 1,350 calories per day for the last 2 weeks. Ashley's been on 1,000 calories per day for the last 2 weeks, and just cranked the protein up. She's eating like 160, 170 grams of protein per day. I'm eating like 240, and actually quite doable by this stage now. I'm starting to get a little bit over it, but considering the rate of progress that I've managed to achieve in this window, it can be done. So the day of strategies, what would I do? I would delay my first meal, delay my breakfast until I'm hungry. I wouldn't just get up and eat because it's 7 a.m. and I usually eat at 7 a.m. If I can get up and have a coffee, go walk the dog and do whatever I need to do first and get some things done and push that meal out to 9, 10 o'clock if I can, happy days. Then I'm going to ram protein into that meal, and I'm going to show you some examples on MyFitnessPal, just some things that I've recorded. So in the app, I know I've got the kind of breakfast smoothie type thing where you add some oats, you add some berries, 2 scoops of protein powder. You can even add a wee bit of Greek yogurt in there. When you blend this up in like a NutriBullet type size thing, it's about 800 mils or something. The blend that you put it in, like it is so thick to sip that with the oats and stuff like that you have in it there as well. When you sit and sip away at that you're not hungry until well into the afternoon from that point. So that's where I'm looking to anchor my breakfast, or else my preference is like a steak and eggs type thing, and that's me. I'm not looking to eat until mid afternoon from that point. Then potentially replacing lunch. So if you're eating 4 times a day, generally condense 2 of those meals into one meal. meaning having if you usually have 40 grams of protein for your breakfast, your lunch, and then a 40-gram snack at the end of the day or somewhere else in the day, have 80 grams of protein in one sitting, for example, or you could just spread that between, breakfast and your second meal, whatever that may be. Using some low calorie options. So again, protein shake with greens and fats, Greek yogurt and berries. Like you sit and have just like Chobani Greek yogurt. Like you ever sat and tried to eat 400 grams of Greek yogurt? Like it takes a bit of, it takes a bit of eating, you know what I mean? But like that's going to keep you ticking over until the evening. And then you're going to have, you'll have banked calories on that day as well. And that just makes some room for your social evenings. You know what I mean? That you can go and enjoy them guilt free. Should be the thing. Now, training around it as well. I would anchor my flexibility to training. I train on the weekend anyway. I train on a Saturday morning. That's just my it's in my program. But I would make sure I'm training. I'm either training on the day, so I've started my day with a healthy, positive habit and behavior that's aligned with the person who I'm looking to be, that journey or that identity shift that I'm looking to kind of get to at some point. I'm starting with that. So then there's less likely of you just going hitting the fuck it button. All we're trying to do really is avoid hitting the fuck it button. At whatever stage. So either train on the day or train after. So that means you get a night out on Saturday or a day out on Saturday or whatever it is. Either train on the Saturday or train on the Sunday. If you're going to train on the Sunday, then you might be less likely to go, right, I'm going to absolutely send it because you're like, right, I said I was going to train. And bear in mind, when you make a promise to yourself, get in a habit of keeping your fucking promises to yourself. Like if you say something, I'm going to get up at 5 tomorrow. Get your arse out of bed at 5 o'clock. You said you were going to do something, do it. You know what I mean? And just that these are really, really important habits and behaviors because then you start to attach a lot of meaning and a lot of value to your word and the word that you keep to yourself. And that's a self-respect thing as well. So training one or the other, train on or train after. So if you overeat, if you have a high day, we just need to balance it out with a couple of low days. It's as simple as that. You haven't banked calories, whatever happened, something sporadic came up, you ate out. Okay, cool. I've went 500, 1,000 calories over for that day. It's the reverse of calorie banking. I have to bank the subsequent days after it by following the same strategies, increasing protein, increasing fiber, maybe narrowing the feeding window on certain days. Go and get some basic movement, some extra movement, some extra steps. Make sure that we're getting, protein and veg for a couple of meals, for example, potentially. Hydrating, sleeping, you know what I mean? Like still try to follow the same type of things. Just try to get straight back on plan or straight back on track as soon as as soon after the night out or the day out or whatever. Like at the end of the day, it's a day out. It's not a weekend out. It's not a weekend away. And if it is, then you just better be sure that you've planned and made caloric adjustments for that. Otherwise, don't be surprised when you make no progress that week or you go backwards that week. Like it has to be a conscious decision. All right. And you can do this in MyFitnessPal as well. So bit of a cheat sheet, bank 200 to 400 calories throughout the week. High protein snacks only on the day of. Delay skip breakfast on the day after. Weekend training around that. Retrospective low calorie days to kind of balance things out and limit the flexibility to 20%. You know what I mean? Like keep a cap on it. I've banked X amount of calories from the week. I've got X amount of calories for the weekend. You should still be hitting your protein target within that. You should still be hitting some form of micronutrient intake within that as well. Um, it's not about perfection. It's about consistency, and it's just about remembering the kind of trade-offs as well. All right. So now if we kind of can you see my MyFitnessPal screen now? All right. So if we're looking at flexibility, so this is just some ideas. Glass of wine, 150 calories. A bottle of beer, roughly about 155 calories. A pint of lager, I don't know, somewhere about 200, 220 calories somewhere for a pint. So it just kind of lets you know where that is. A quarter pounder for McDonald's, about 550 calories. Kebab, maybe about 700-ish. A Domino's cheese pizza, whoever's, I mean, nobody's ever just went for a cheese pizza in their life. But 2000 calories there. So it's easy to see how these things can add up. Now, if I was going, potentially I was going out for a meal, whatever this is. So, say I banked 3000 calories for the day. This is still only 2300 calories I'm sitting at, but I'm going to start my breakfast something like this: two scoops of whey protein, 20 grams of oats, tablespoon of nut butter, something like that. Healthy fats are going to slow down gastric empty and keep you fuller for longer. Um, and it obviously got, so we've got fiber, we've got fat slowing down gastric emptying, and we've got high protein. So we're fucking yanking on as many satiety levers as possible. That's going in a blender and blending it up. That's 500 calories for six, not even 500 calories for 64 grams of protein. Then whenever the next time I'm hungry, before then, I'm going to go something like the Greek yogurt. Like, and I could make that higher protein by adding a scoop of protein powder into that, and going and only having 200 grams of yogurt. But I'm trying to increase the volume, so I'll eat 400 grams of yogurt and a cup of frozen blueberries in there somewhere in the mid-afternoon. So now between those two meals, I'm sitting at 120 grams of protein. Then if I'm going to go out and choose something, I'm going to the pub, I'm going to try and anchor it to a steak, veggies, and if I'm going to go and have beers, I want to look after the food side. It's very hard to kick the arse out the beers and the food at the same time. So you want it, if you're going to have a few more beers, make sure that we're being a wee bit better, making some better choices around nutrition. So a steak salad and veggies kind of thing is what I would usually get, and then I'm going to go and have a few beers. If I wasn't going to drink, then I would, you could get whatever, a parmy or a pizza or whatever else that you potentially could you potentially want. But then it's like I'm just not having both purely from the caloric perspective. And you can plan this in your MyFitnessPal. Where are you going? A bit of retrospective, sorry, a bit of forward planning as opposed to retrospective tracking. Um, Another example, like, so I would always go, I quite like grilled as well in Perth if I go out. So I always get like the hot bird, the chicken burger, and then like 12 of the healthy fried chicken bites. That keeps it at like 1,000 calories for still like 90 grams of protein, which is like pretty good going. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still having flexibility. I'm just making the best choice that I can in that environment. And then how could I start that day? This is like my steak and eggs thing, that I really like. So 200-gram steak, couple of eggs, maybe like some liquid egg whites as well, just to crank that protein up. Like you get 16 grams of protein for 82 calories. It's pretty good. Then you could even crank it up again with some light cottage cheese and with the scrambled eggs. Did that this morning and it was unreal. And it gives the scrambled eggs, keeps them, sometimes they got a wee bit dry, keeps a nice bit of moisture in there. Broccolini, some mushrooms, whatever it is, you might get another 60 calories there. But anyway, that all cooked in the Nuttelex butter in the pan. That comes in at 600 calories for the day for 90 grams of protein, nearly. And then, I might have something else during the day here, but I could probably easily just have like a protein shake with some greens or something like that here. And then I've still got 1,000. So this day here has been 1,700 calories for 177 grams of protein. 10 calories per 10 grams of protein per 100 calories is, you're on the money. That's unbelievable if you can hit that. And that's a really good rule of thumb. So these are just kind of two examples of how I would personally do it. Now, I'm not going to tell you to do it exactly how I do it, you know what I mean? But at least try it. At least really go and give it a red hot go, to go, do you know what? I'm going to try and crank my protein up and go, I'm going to try and get 180 grams of protein. I don't know how many times has anybody here. hit over 200 grams of protein, or 180 grams of protein and like that. Like maybe not too many of you. Like I don't know if anybody has anybody whilst we're here.
180.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hit 180 most days. Try to at least.
and then how do you feel hunger wise, satiety wise for it?
Yeah, really good. I struggled to get the rest of the calories in when I hit that target for protein.
It's like I have it's the first thing that I say to people when we talk about nutrition. It's the first thing that I send people through on the onboarding video. Nail your protein, nail your calories. If you nail your protein inadvertently, you will nail your calories. And then when as even in recent weeks, myself and Troy we were going through it as well, and he's like, I just feel like I've like been like rate of progress has kind of slipped a little bit. And went back and reviewed his diary, and I'm like, your protein's slipping, man. You're allowing that to slip a little bit because you're trying to allow for more flexibility to come in, but the flexibility is coming from detracting from protein, and then you're detracting from satiety. So if you undereat on protein and then go on a night out, you're much at a much higher likelihood of hitting the fuck it button because you're not you've not leveraged off of those satiety signals. Whereas if you're generally full, you know what I mean? You're probably not going to just going to go, I'm going to go and eat shit and drink. You'll keep a lid on it a lot more just because the satiety signals are there. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Is
Yeah,
that
100%.
pretty straightforward? Does anybody have any comments, questions, anything surrounding this? No, everybody all good. Um, the one thing I'd say is just plan it, man. Like, and it doesn't like just chuck it in your MyFitnessPal. This is where I'm going to go this evening, or even have it in your head, like a rough idea of where I'm going to go. Like, what could I make decision wise? Don't when we get to that point of decision fatigue and we just make a decision off the cuff. That's where we could, come unstuck a little bit. So just plan for it. If you plan for it and go and execute it in this kind of manner, you'll see that you can definitely do it. You know what I mean? And if in the subsequent days after, especially like the day after, if you've had a bit of an overindulgence, you don't need to have breakfast at fucking 7 o'clock in the morning. You'll be full, you'll be stuffed, especially if you've been dieting over a period of time and then you've had that influx of energy for, like 1.5 times the amount of calories you're consuming in a day. You'll still be stuffed in the morning. So get out of get out of the habitual nature of, oh, it's 7 a.m. I need to eat. Like, no, I'll eat if I'm hungry. Like that's how we operate generally. That's how we're supposed to operate. Where the hunger signal kicks in, shit, I should eat something. You know what I mean? Rather than it being a habitual thing as well. So just some strategies, some things to try and implement. I hope this helps. I hope this clarifies potentially some better ways to navigate your weekends and navigate some flexibility. Um, if there is anything else, oh, here's Sharon come back. If there is anything else that you would like me to cover on a community call or anything that you particularly would like me to go through, topics wise, education wise, exercise execution breakdowns, whatever it would be, or whatever it would be that you would like to see. I'm always open to taking on that feedback and trying to implement that as well. All good. So another one, quick one, guys. If I was to organise, I know this is only probably going to suit the people who live in around the Busselton area. I'll put it in the group chat tomorrow anyway. But if I was going to organise like a coffee catch up, like once a month, once every 6 weeks or something like that, would people be interested in that or not so much? People busy on the weekends generally with kids' sports and all the rest of it. That's what I was thinking. I'll put it in the group chat. I'll put a poll in and see if there's any appetite for it. I did the feedback form that I put in the group chat a couple of weeks ago. I've only had one of them complete, so if you could do that as well, that'd be great. But the one comment on that was if I would we do like a monthly catch up? So I was just seeing if there is an appetite for it. But that's all good. I'll put it in the poll in the group chat tomorrow. All good. Any questions, queries, concerns, anything to do, program, anything, progress? Everyone all good?
Yep.
Happy as? Alrighty, cool. I will speak to you all later on. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Lewis.
Thank you.
No worries. See you
Yeah,
later.
brother.
Take
See ya.
care. Bye bye.